day slate treated you well. I had to miss the day slate, unfortunately, because I had some things to take care of. And Rody, I guess it was probably maybe a good thing I skipped it. It sounds like people didn't have a great time playing it today. We haven't heard a good one yet.
No, we haven't heard a good one yet. The day slate was a little rough. I had some good things going and just once again died. So that's what it is.
Yeah, guys, when you get on in, say what's up. I'm going to just do the quick reminder. Again, free sign up of TrueDFS, sheets of sheets, everything, all of my plays, everything like that. It's all posted on there, free for the first month. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to the videos and all that stuff. Rody, if you don't mind, would you mind tweeting this out while we're
already on it?
There we go, man. I love it. We're starting to get in sync here. I'm feeling good about tonight, man. We haven't talked anything about what we're playing or anything yet, but we seem to have a consensus feeling good. I somehow made money on last night's slate, which just felt kind of gross. Like the whole slate was just nasty. What's up, Adam? And this is gonna be a fun night. It's gonna be weird with the weather, so we're gonna get out of here at 6:30 Eastern, and we will go through the plays we like. I don't want to get there's so many stacks that I like today. I just want to try and condense it into a couple. Rody, let's start it off with stacks instead of pitching because I have a feeling we're gonna be on similar pitchers. What stacks are you playing tonight? Because I can make this is one of the better stacking slates, but then we've also got the weather to deal with. I don't know. Where are you looking right now?
Yeah, I mean, Brewers project so high on the list tonight, like better than anyone. Brewers are where you want to go, but you really got to watch the weather. I think people will get off the Brewers a little bit too because of the weather. Roth does say that we might be able to get it all the way till the end of the game. So it might be a spot you want to MME in, throw at least some Brewers lineups in. I think people are going to get off that a little bit more. So that's a good spot. The Cardinals are projecting good against Crow again. That's a good spot. I know Dodgers are actually projecting still pretty good. We got the Rays that look good in a decent spot. Is there weather there? No, they're in a dome, right? Wait.
No, the Rays are playing in Boston.
Oh, Boston, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to clear out before. That's a good game to go. I think the Rays look good. I think you get in on the Rays stacks. Reds are projecting okay. That Tigers-Baltimore game again, I like. Baltimore's been doing really good. I think point per dollar, they're the number one stack of the night. So get in on some Baltimore. I like Hayes, Sander. I mean, those guys are 2K in the outfield. I mean, they've been doing work, guys. Like they've been having some good showing there. And I don't think Skewball is that great. He's not projecting too awesome. But I mean, if you're playing GPPs, he's a pitcher flyer. I wouldn't mind chancing either. He's up there. You know, Skewball's a decent projection. So you can take either side of it. I like those stacks and kind of that right there.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. I personally, I'm very much going to play the Blue Jays now that we have an actual full game. And unusually good hitting weather in LA. I'm a guy who, by the way, I believe Bundy is better than what we've seen from him for the most part this season. He also is incredibly, he just blows up sometimes. I think he's given up 4 home runs in the first inning 4 times in his career or something like that. And then I just don't trust the Angels bullpen behind him. I love the Jays, so that's a big place I'm going. I also think it's kind of hard to get them in. And you got the cheap, Blue Jays guys and stuff, but we don't even have a lineup. I'm sorry, you got the cheap, the Orioles, like you're saying, but Corey Dickerson at 2.9, Lourdes Gurriel 3.4, assuming that they're in the lineup. Even all the way through to Teoscar. I think that you'll get ownership on Springer and Vlad, a little bit on Simeon maybe, but I don't think anybody else is getting owned. And I like Dickerson on both sides. He's minimum over on FanDuel.
Yeah, Dickerson will get ownership on FanDuel at 2K, yeah.
Yeah, but at 29 on DraftKings, because of the way it goes, because the way the outfield is just loaded, it's I think he gets completely overlooked over there, and he's 2.9. So I will absolutely take that shot. That Toronto is probably my favorite, but I love the Milwaukee. I'm a little worried about that game, and I also love Burns in that game, so it's a little bit tricky to figure out exactly how to do it. Whether we want to do it. And the weird part about the Milwaukee projecting so well is that they're going to be more owned than they're showing up right now. But I still they're showing up with no ownership basically. And I kind of see why it's hard to get these expensive pitchers and these expensive bats in. But I don't mind playing Tellez down at the bottom at batting 7th. You know what I mean, at 3.6. I really like the 1-3-5-7. That's my favorite way to stack that game, and I think you get really low ownership doing that. So that's one thing I'm considering on my DraftKings builds. I like the Dodgers, but I prefer just picking a couple lefty bats against. I mean, the thing is, like, it's another one of those spots. Like, it's not like Kyle Gibson's this horrible pitcher, but this is the Dodgers in great hitting conditions. He does struggle occasionally with lefties, and I like the Seager, Muncy, and even Pollock's that would be the righty I'd throw in for cheap on FanDuel, sort of to make a little 3-man stack. But then again, in St. Louis, you got the really cheap outfield in St. Louis that are going to be popular, but I like all of it. So those are the main things that I'm targeting in on. I obviously see the arguments for Detroit, Oakland, Milwaukee. Milwaukee I already mentioned, San Francisco. By the way, I wish this Philly lineup didn't suck so bad, because I would absolutely love to take some shots against David Price. And I'm a Dodger fan, but I love Real Muto. I think he's a terrific one-off. I've actually got him in my main build on FanDuel. And I'm considering him as on DraftKings, but the problem is I'm using Narvaez in my stacks over there, and they're similar priced. I actually like, 1v1, I prefer Real Muto, but if I'm going to keep my stack integrity, I want to play Narvaez. So that's where I'm sort of running into issues with playing him. But I really, really like this. I like the Toronto spot. I like the Milwaukee spot. Those are the teams I think have the power upside that I sort of am siding with the most. Good question popping in right off the bat from Brooklyn Juice. Do I like my boy Toussaint tonight? I think Toussaint is a high variance pitcher. And we all know that about him. Like, you can definitely see a range of outcomes, but I don't think we're doing this right if we're paying down for pitching, especially against the Reds, who don't strike out much. I think the top of the pitching is just much, much better than everything else. And we'll get into your guys in a minute, but I'll just say I'm playing basically just Burns, Manoah, Montas, and Gausman. Obviously, there's some concern about Burns. There's some concern about the game in Cleveland. But those are my favorite pitchers, assuming that all the games play. Those are the guys I'm going to end up playing. How about you?
Yeah, I really like Montas tonight. Burns is a concern with the weather. I do like that. I didn't think about Manoah, but I could see that. That's a good play. Wainwright, I'm still kind of on him a little bit against Pitt. He's been looking good this year. He's projecting right up there, pretty decent. Not too high ownership, but I like them. But yeah, I'm gonna stay up pretty up to the top too today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally think Wainwright would be the other guy if I have to pivot off of Montas because of the weather, or if I have to pivot off of Burns, I would definitely take some shots with Wainwright. I don't play Wainwright all that much, even though he's been really good this year. And Pittsburgh, this is a high strikeout. Pittsburgh doesn't strike out in general as much, but this is a high strikeout lineup that they put out there today. Jeez. So I actually think that Wainwright is definitely in contention. I want ceilings. I want safety. I guess Montas doesn't necessarily have the safety, but I think if you want to go for ceilings, just Burns, Manoah, Montas, and Gausman are just significantly higher than everyone else's for me. Anybody? You mentioned Skubal. I don't like taking lefties against the Orioles. They just don't. They seem to make enough contact. They don't strike out quite as much against lefties. They've only got, I think it's like 16% or something that their lineup strikes out against lefties, which is really low. It's very strange when you look at baseball these days, because I always try and point this out with everybody's like, oh my God, look at this pitcher's got a 25% K rate. And I'm like, that's bad. That's average. League average K rate. Nolan Ryan, who was considered, by the way, the most overrated player in the history of baseball. But Nolan Ryan's career strikeout rate is the average major league strikeout rate right now. That's how much people strike out. So we saw it last night. You get weird guys. Griffin Jacks, look at what did he strike out 10 in 5 innings last night? I was saying this guy's not as bad as everyone thinks. I still did play some White Sox. Unfortunately, I was on the right side of it. But anyway, Tyler Anderson would be another guy you can consider.
I was just about to say him. We forgot about him.
Yeah, I've always been the Tyler Anderson is a better real life pitcher than people think. He keeps the ball on the ground better. He was decent. Even in Colorado, he wasn't the guy who got lit up, and yet everybody would stack against him every time. You have a 3.29 total for Texas, and taking a lefty against Texas definitely doesn't seem like a bad way to go. But I just don't think you need to do it. I think you can find enough. We're saying, okay, if we want to fit the Blue Jays in. Well, I already mentioned I like Dickerson at 2,900. We talked about the Baltimore outfielders, guys like Santander. Then you've got Bader and Carlson and O'Neill. You can stack them without having to give up anything on pitching. So this is the time of year where I think it's important. only to pay down for pitchers if you think there's upside. There's really no reason to. Like, I really don't see any reason. There's not that much different in these 2K hitters than the 5K hitters. The way it is going, even lineup spots. I mean, these guys are hitting at the top of the order. You know, you can always use a shortstop from if you're not playing Wainwright. I mean, I don't mind taking that Park, who's actually pretty good for Pittsburgh. I mean, even like at 2K at shortstop, there's just so much value that I really think you can play like basically any of these stacks and not have to compromise your pitching. Do you agree with that? Or for me, that's what happens every year in August, especially mid to late August. It really gets like, and then you get the September call-ups too, who occasionally are cheap. So after like the All-Star break, I just don't find the need to pay down for pitching hardly ever. The only reason to really do it is if you really believe in those pitchers, and it's so hard for me to see Tyler Anderson or what's his name winning the slate. I guess Tyler Anderson has enough upside, but I don't know. I don't love it. Tukey has upside, but I just think there's no reason. I just would rather pay 600 more for Montas. You know what I mean? I just don't find the reason to spend down. Am I correct? Do you agree with this, or what is your sort of strategy?
Yeah, totally. I've been paying up for pitchers a lot this year. Every now and then find a good value one that pops up there, but paying up for the guys has been key to my success this year. So
yeah, I just think it makes the most sense. And in general, with the way the pricing has become so soft, and bad job, DraftKings. I love you guys, but like poor job on pricing players. Do a better job. It was so much more fun to me when it was so hard to figure out ways to get guys in, and it's just super easy. Do have a question here from Mike. He asked me do I like Burns over Gausman? I like them. I have the exact same amount of both of them. I prefer Gausman I guess because you just take the safety on FanDuel because of the weather concern. So I guess I prefer Gausman on FanDuel. On DK, I have them together, and I have Montas and Manoah together. That's basically what I'm doing. I'll mix in a couple of those four guys, but I don't think I'm going to do anything different if I get a green light on all the weather, which is basically going to just determine a lot of this. Late start in Cleveland may make Montas safer. Actually, that's true based on the way the weather looks there. So I actually kind of like that. It might actually. What's weird is it makes Montas safer, and it probably scares some people off of Montas. So I like it even a little bit better for that reason. So Adam wants to know a question: who's to spend down at third base on DK? And I have some ugliness at spend downs on DK. If you need to do that, I think I prefer spending down in the outfield. But if that game goes in Chicago, I don't mind Duffy against Burns at minimum, but I don't love it. Like, you could play Yoni Hernandez. Not for me. Not going to do that. I would probably side with Rodolfo Castro. Maybe La Stella if you're stacking the Giants, who I think are viable tonight, very viable against my Merrill Kelly. I think he sucks. And then you've got, look, I just think it's a position. I have some Castro, but I don't think I'm going to be spending down at third base primarily. How about you? Oh, JD Davis is the other. Oh no, that's a 7-inning game. Sorry, not JD Davis. Excuse me. But that's $1 per dollar. Go ahead.
Yeah, third base. I don't see anything good to spend down at too. Maybe the cheapest you can get the Hayes for not Hayes. He's projecting decent for Pitt. But I like Wainwright tonight, so don't go with that one.
Yeah.
I don't see anything. Maybe there's a couple guys on Pitt that are there at third you could play, but I like Wainwright, so yeah, Yoni Hernandez, like you said, probably.
Yeah.
That's it, really.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, that's it. Yeah, you're good. Those guys.
I don't love the position at third base today, but I think like Arenado is the guy I probably end up siding with. Maybe you can go Austin Riley against the lefty in Miley. But I mean, again, it's not. I don't know.
Escobar there at the top for the Brewers.
Oh, Escobar! If you're going to pay all the way up, absolutely. I'm very into Escobar, and I actually think that the ownership on him, like, it's probably going to be higher than they're projecting it.
Yeah, for sure.
Even at that crazy price, just because third base is kind of the ugly position, right? Like, I'm looking at, let's see, who's going to be the most owned player? Jose Ramirez. That's an awesome play any night, but he's facing Montas, who's actually a good pitcher.
I like Montas, yeah. So
yeah, and then you've got Arenado at 49, who's going to be the other one who gets ownership.
Candelario, Detroit.
Candelario, there you go.
Detroit's projecting good too, guys. So
Candelario, Chris Bryant, Riley, Seager. These are all the guys who I'd be considering along with Arenado. And of course, look, you can always play Jose Ramirez in literally every matchup and feel good about it. You could even play Rafael Devers in the lefty-lefty spot. There's options. It's just I don't love the position personally. Nobody I feel like I need to have there. All right, so let's see. What's up, K9 Bronco? Let's talk a little bit about some of the ways that we're stacking. Okay, so I mentioned, I think I mentioned it to you. Maybe it was during the show, maybe it was pre-show. I love the 1-3-5-7 stack, and then mixing in whoever else you want with for Milwaukee. That's the easiest way to do it. It's the way I like it the most. That's what I'm doing. How about you?
So you're picking like batter 1, 5s, 3, and 7 is what you said?
Yeah, it's Wong, Tellez, Narvaez, and Adames. I like using Adames, who's going to, I think, be low, like the lower. I think they're all going to be lower owned than. I mean, they're projected to be low owned, but I think they're going to be fairly low owned. So, yeah, that's what I've got right now. How about you? What's your?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big game. It's a big stack. I mean, like, I don't mind even getting off like Yelich even or like Adames. Like, pick one of those guys and pair with Escobar, and then play like Tellez at cheap. You know, you can get Colton Wong at second base. I like Narvaez at catcher. Like he's a good play. So yeah, I like mixing it up like that. And, you know, you got Garcia there too to mix in.
Sure, definitely makes sense.
That's just Milwaukee. I mean, should probably get a FanDuel build going here for them.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about FanDuel. I always, you know, instead of getting out stacks, I like to talk about the guys who we actually have. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I feel like people don't talk enough about you. They just sort of say, oh, stack this or whatever. One other cheap option you can use, by the way, today is Matt Beatty for the Dodgers. If you do like the Dodgers, he's 2,400 and batting 8th. I know he's batting 8th, but he does have enough power. It's good hitting conditions. More of a fly ball guy anyway, so I actually kind of like him in that matchup if you're going to spend down somewhere other than the outfield. But I'm a big fan of the 1-3-5-7, and then you mix in Escobar, you can mix in Yelich. That's the way I would do with the Milwaukee stack personally. All right, so how about you? How about for and then again, I guess I'll just say Toronto. Vlad, Simeon, Springer, and Dickerson are my favorite 4 of the stack. I think Dickerson comes in really low owned on DraftKings, high owned on FanDuel. I told you before, I think the Giants are a phenomenal stack that no one's going to play today. And if it wasn't in San Francisco, I would be all over it. I'm sure other people would as well. But that's like my off the board stack that I'm just not getting to, and I kind of wish I was. Who's that team for you today?
You might have made it Toronto for me. I really didn't mention them earlier in the stacks. I mean, they're grading out pretty decent in the mid pack. You know, I don't mind Toronto, Oakland right there in the middle even. Giants are not that far back, actually. They're not a bad stack on at least showing up decent for FanDuel. So, I mean, a little bit farther down on DK because of their price.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they show up decent on FanDuel. So
yeah, I think that they're easier to play on FanDuel. So of course, you know me, I'm playing them on DraftKings and not on FanDuel. I just want to get creative. You know what I mean? I want to do it the harder way that they're going to be lower owned. But I do like them obviously in general.
And another thing is this kind of a decent sized slate too. I don't think ownership's going to be maybe spread out a little bit too with some weather concerns. So I don't think you got to focus too big on the ownership a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, it's out there, but like, it's going to be spread out a little bit, I think.
Yeah. I like a point that was just made in, you know, this is a spot where maybe, I guess Stroman is not on the FanDuel slate. I would like to play him on FanDuel actually. You have like he's going to project. The thing is, there's a real shot at a complete game here against this weak Nationals offense with a 2.6 total in a 7-inning game. So Stroman is definitely a guy you can use. I actually think he and Wainwright are close. So it's a good point there by Adam. I don't think it's a bad off the board play to play Stroman. He's not cheap and he's not a high strikeout guy, but he is a guy who can mow through some innings, especially against this pretty weak. It's the Nationals lineup, but it's really not a professional lineup outside of Soto and Bell. How about so for your stacks? If you're talking about, you know, you mentioned some of the bats you like for Baltimore. How about other than Candelario? This is the issue that always happens with Detroit for me. Is like other than Candelario, Scope, Grossman, you could play Haas. He's really expensive, 5,100. I prefer the other catchers a little cheaper. You could play Goodrum down at the bottom, who's going to be low owned. I think that's a really good play actually at shortstop at 3,200. Willie Castro is a better hitter than for a guy who's batting 8th for this team. He's just been he's productive, but he's not a big power guy. Who are you stacking for your stacks? What are some of the favorite players in the individual stacks?
So you just want to talk about Detroit, or you just any stacks
Sorry, I'm just double checking the thing. Well, I was just saying that the way I like Detroit, because I do have a little Detroit interest on FanDuel, especially. But how about you? Who are you playing from the stacks that you're playing? Give us a couple names of individual batters you like.
Edman's cheap on if you want to do a mini stack on St. Louis on DK. I like Edman. I got DeJong at shortstop to get a little different. Carlson over O'Neill. I know those guys project a little lower, but they're near. They're getting a little bit lower ownership too, because they're not the top guys of the stack, so you can go there. We talked about
play Edman, by the way, which is I love that play because he's batting 8th tonight. Kind of weird. He gets a home run last night. Now you move him down to 8th.
So he's at 2.9K on DK, guys. So it's not a bad little play. I don't know. Was second base kind of weak? I know third was a little different.
Well, I like Wong a lot. I like Simeon, but outside of those two, I don't have anybody I feel like I need to play at second base.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's somewhat weak.
Yeah, I think it's pretty weak. I don't mind giving Edman a shot.
Nice.
So yeah. I like that play. We didn't talk about Oakland, but you could get some Oakland guys in there. Jed Lowry, I know you don't like him, but he's there.
No, he's fine. Just in general, you need to. For me, I always include Lowry if I'm going to have a full stack. I don't like
doing an Oakland stack or something. He's 3.7. He's only 3.7 on DK. You can get him easy.
Yeah, that's a pretty awesome.
Also, Trey Turner's second base eligible on shortstop leading off, second base and shortstop eligible on DK. So you can play in both spots there if you want. He's expensive.
He's expensive. I prefer Muncy personally. Take the lefty.
Muncy.
I love Trey Turner, by the way. Man, this guy is so fast. It's crazy. This Dodger team is going to be really, really tough to beat in the long run. But yeah, I think Muncy would be my favorite there. I do like Turner too, but I think Muncy.
You could stack Muncy and Turner first, second.
Yeah, that's true. I actually have one lineup like that.
And you could still play Seager. So you could do a Muncy, Seager, Trey Turner build, which might get different because no one's playing all those guys.
I like that. I can get on board with that. For sure. I'm going to have to rebuild some things.
Actually, one of those right now.
Yeah, I like it. Once we get off, I got to edit my lineups. I just got to remind myself. And I did say I did my 5 plays today that I like for home runs. I'll just mention it. I love Tyler O'Neill, Corey Seager, Tellez, Guerrero, and Real Muto. I think are in awesome spots today. So, guys, any other questions, drop them on in. Otherwise, we'll get out of here and check out the weather stuff. Yesterday I was pretty tilted about the weather because I had a good lineup going on FanDuel for a while. And, if the White Sox actually did any hitting, I could have really regretted it because I didn't hear anybody. I looked at other sites, too, and there was nothing mentioned about that game getting delayed like that. And Scherzer's a guy who, even if the game's delayed an hour, usually wants to come back. I don't know what they'll do with him now that he's in LA, but he's always been a guy, but it was, what was it? Almost 3 hours or 2.5 hours or something like that. Anyway, that was a little tilting last night, but drop in any final questions, and Rody, finish it with any other thoughts you have on the slate of anything we maybe didn't touch on.
It's going to be I think it's going to be an interesting night. Ownership's going to be spread out a little bit. There's a lot of good teams I mentioned. Stick to some of the good stacks. Don't get too crazy. I know you guys were looking for some 2K punts. But I think you can build some good lineups tonight. So just work on that. Watch the weather tonight. I know we had a bad weather night last night, so just stay in tune with all that.
Yep, absolutely agree. All right, I'm just trying to get this thing built right. Okay. And so we're gonna have to watch out for weather. That's where we're at, basically. Otherwise, everything I've got a very, very clear thing. Let's see. Are you playing many lineups that don't have at least one of Gausman or Burns? How about you, Brody?
Yeah, I'm not too priority on those two. So I'll have some different flyers. I'm playing a couple lineups in that $10 DK thing I'm messing around with, just throwing some builds in. And then my big one's on FanDuel. So I might have Burns on FanDuel though. You think I need him? He's expensive.
He's expensive. I like Gaussman. We just saw him put up a big number against these guys the other day. It's a really soft lineup. If you're trying to figure out something about Gaussman, he had a couple tough starts in a row, and hasn't thrown he was for a while just cruising around the 99-100 pitch range like every time, and has been in the 80s, but that's because of some struggles. He struggled with the Dodgers. He struggled with oddly Pittsburgh. Then struggled a little bit against Houston, but they did pull him a little sooner than I would have expected in all those games. And I just don't see that happen. This Arizona lineup is so bad. Even if you don't get all the strikeouts, I think the 6 innings, the win are just incoming for him. And I think there's a chance he could even, pitch deeper. And then he himself creates enough strikeout upside. So I'm very into Gaussman. I do have some lineups without them, but it's going to be Montas and Manoah then, who I could just see. Manoah is the one I think could absolutely sure, there's risk, but you might see a guy put up 35 fantasy points like that. This is the kind of matchup he can do it against this weak Angels team. And this guy has got great stuff. So I really, really like Manoah if you're not going to go that route. And then Montas is my 4th favorite.
Yeah, I might even go to Gaussman on FanDuel probably. So I like that play. So
yeah. All right, guys.
I'm paying up, guys. I'm paying up. So
yeah, I think we got to, man. Unless there's by the way, I actually ended up throwing Jay Happ into a few lineups last night, which I wasn't planning on doing, but when I redid my Met stacks, I was like, okay, I'll throw Jay Happ into, and he was actually good. But if anybody watched that Pittsburgh St. Louis game, there were some of the worst calls I've ever seen behind the plate, like really hilariously bad. There was 3 called strikeouts I think that Happ had, and one of them was like 6 or 7 inches off the plate. I mean, it was like embarrassing. The guy, I can't remember who the hitter was at the time, but he just looked at the guy. He just looked at him and like what? Like, are you joking? I think the guy actually just made the wrong call. It was that bad. Anyway, I'm pretty much that's what I'm doing here, guys. Hopefully somebody takes something down tonight. Let us know in Discord. I promise I won't do any complaining tonight. I'm planning on just celebrating whoever one of the true DFSers that wins it, and hopefully hopefully Rody wins the satellite. What is the thing tonight? The satellite for the big one. What is it? A 970 again?
I don't think there is a satellite tonight.
Oh, there's none tonight.
No.
Then we're gonna have to actually just come 1-2 in the other tournaments, I guess.
I'm playing the 1650 on FanDuel for 100K.
Take it down. You have my permission to win that tournament because I'm not in that one tonight.
That's about my biggest lineup of the night. And then I'm throwing some small ones in DK, so nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy.
All right. Guys, just quick thing I'm going to touch on. I'm flying to the East Coast tomorrow, and Sheets is traveling. So the videos might be a little tough. We'll have all of our information, everything projected and all that stuff done. But it's going to be hard to get the videos done. I'll try and find some way to get something out, but it might be a little tricky. And Rody, of course, has his job still, even though this guy just cleans up at DFS. Anyway. All right, guys. Good luck to everybody out there. Rody, thank you as always. Really appreciate it. Great stuff. And somebody take something down tonight. Good luck.
Let's get it, boys.